Hey, I'm Lex.
And I'm Serena,
host of the Dream Body Playbook podcast,
a show all about transforming your life
and your body to what you've always dreamed of.
On our show, you're going to find hella inspiring guests,
and you'll get weight loss tips galore from top pros in the industry.
And you're going to hear fitness secrets from the CCP team.
Plus, you'll get nutrition and training help with our Is It Worth It episodes, where we'll review the latest trends hitting the internet to let you know if it's actually worth your time.
Listen every Wednesday to the Dream Body Playbook. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Dream Body Playbook podcast. Happy Wednesday. It is raining.
I was going to say, it is gloomy. It is a gloomy, rainy Wednesday morning, and we are tired today.
We are out of it today, y'all.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know what's going on, but I was telling Serena that, I feel like I can't breathe and talk at the same time today. So if you hear me, Darth Vader in the microphone, that's why. I don't know what's going on.
Trying to catch our breaths over here.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I don't know what's going on, but it's been a while since we were in the studio.
I
know. Get, back in the routine
It's been a whole month.
It's been a whole month, for sure. And
yeah.
Which is going to tie in really well with this topic that we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've been crazy busy.
Yep.
Busy. And I don't know if you watched, well, this is coming out weeks later, but I was talking about it on my story yesterday about how, hey, I've been kind of MIA. My fitness routine isn't quite where I would like it to be right now. But life is also throwing me curveballs left and right.
Life is happening.
It's happening for sure. And it's just nuts is things are just everywhere. Yep. And we want to talk with you guys today about how are we balancing that, and how can we help you balance that?
You know what I think, and maybe we can edit this part, we leave it in, whatever, but I think we should also talk about what we're balancing.
Yeah.
To put it into perspective for people of okay, we don't just live and do this and go to the gym every day. That we have way more stuff going on.
We have lives too. Yeah, that's true. I like that color shirt on you, by the way.
Thank you so much. It's my power color.
I'm looking and I'm that looks really good with your eyes and stuff. Side note, squirrel moment. Yeah, no, because I feel a lot of times, and I think this goes for anyone who puts their life out there on Instagram.
Yeah.
Especially in the health and wellness space. A lot of times people think oh, you just work and work out.
I mean, life would be so easy if I just did that.
Yeah, work and work out. And because that's mainly what we show, right?
Right.
I'm trying on my end to show a little bit more of that back end lifestyle stuff to give everyone kind of a little peek into my actual life, because maybe you guys can relate and understand hey, oh wow, I go through that as well, and I would love to learn how Lex balances that or doesn't balance that, and whatever it may be, because we're not perfect either.
Yep.
So yeah, what is what are some things you're balancing right now? Lots of stuff.
Yeah. So obviously this is my job. So we've got that in the mix, right? But then I also do some content creation stuff on the side. So I'm balancing that. I also am helping my friend build out her social media for her women's ministry.
Cool.
So that's a big role that I'm taking on.
Wait, I love that.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to invite you.
Yeah, that will be so fun. I love that.
Yeah, I wanted to invite you. We're having a vision night on June 7th.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if this podcast will be out by then, but please come. Yeah. I'll send you the invite. I actually have cards in my bag, so I can give them to you.
Cool.
But that, and then we have our big event at the, where Elevation Uptown campus is, where I go. She's rented out that whole place for November.
Cool. Okay.
And so yeah, we're just gonna.
Oh, I love that.
See, it'll be exciting.
That's a fun little project.
I know.
It's fun, and it's something that it's your faith. You're super passionate about it and stuff too. It's that's a really fun thing to do. I love that.
Exactly. So that's picking up, and then I found out that my grandparents are moving back to Oklahoma. So now throw in Serena needs to find somewhere to live in the mix. So in the next 60 days. So
oh yeah,
all of that's going on pretty much simultaneously.
Yeah. Plus
the regular church, the regular volunteering, the regular e-group,
and your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your friends.
And I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. So it's tying all of those in as well, and maintaining those and keeping those healthy.
Yeah.
That's work in itself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you got a lot going on. What do I have going on? We just closed on our house yesterday.
Woo!
So now we're moving, which shouldn't be too hard because What's up, y'all? So we don't run ads on this podcast, and we probably won't ever. Our goal here is to share as much information and value with you as possible, with a little entertainment, of course. But with that, we need your help in getting the word out about the Dream Body Playbook. So all we're asking for you to do is send this episode to a friend that you think would really benefit from it, or share it on your social media stories and tag us. Also, one other thing we're going to be doing is giving away a $100 Amazon gift card to someone who rates and reviews this podcast every single month. So thank you in advance, and we're looking forward to reading your reviews, but we'll get back to the episode.
Moving's always hard though to an extent.
It's just tedious, right? It's tedious. I've actually, it's been very therapeutic, and you can probably relate to this a lot because with our jobs, we're on our phone and looking at screens a lot. But whenever I'm like packing boxes and packing up the apartment and stuff, my phone is like somewhere else, and I'm able to just like zone out and just wrap plates and put them in a box, and wrap wine glasses and put them in a box and stuff, and not really stress about what's going on my phone. So it's been kind of therapeutic, especially at night when me and Nick are home from work and we're both just like doing it together. We're talking about like ideas for the new house and stuff. It's just been like a really good bonding session for the both of us.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm going to Nashville this weekend for one of my best friend's bachelorettes. It's going to be fun. I'm like mentally preparing myself for it. I haven't done bachelorette Nashville in almost a little bit over a year. Last time I was in Nashville for bachelorette was last beginning of April or end of March, something like that. So it was about a year ago.
Yeah.
About a year ago, and that one was a crazy fun one, and a little bit more wild than I plan on doing this time. But I'm excited for that. So we have that coming up, and then shortly after, like in a month, we have that same friend's wedding, which of course is super exciting. And then I have like my bridal shower that I'm working on helping. Well, I'm not really helping that much. It's just they kind of want it to be like a surprise. So I'm like I'm trying to stay out of it. You guys, if you know me, I'm a control freak, and I like to manage things. So that's coming up. We're also like me and my maid of honor are in the middle of like finalizing details for the bachelorette.
Yep.
And then of course there's the wedding.
Yep.
So there's the wedding. So I'm balancing a lot right now, as well as work and relationships, and still trying to like meet up with my best friends to get dinner and like not let those relationships like fade just because life's getting busy, while also like making sure that all of our clients are taken care of.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on.
Make sure our health is taken care of too.
Exactly. And that's something I feel like why I brought up this topic is because I feel like it's something that I have kind of let slide to the back burner recently. Not saying that like I'm going to beat myself up about it or anything, but I'm not moving my body as much as I would like to.
Right.
I'm not tracking my food or eating my food as much as I would like to right now.
Yep.
I do plan on like when I get back from Nashville to like try to like get back in a better groove, especially now that the closing of the house is done.
Right.
And stuff like that. It's like a lot of the big stressors that we've had are kind of getting checked off the list coming up soon.
Yeah.
Which is so great when you like, you have these big things and you're like, done. On to like relaxation.
I know, but isn't that the crazy part though, is like we always kind of wait for those moments instead of just living our life the in-between, which is where it's supposed to be. I mean, it's great to check things off the list, but we don't want to miss out on the experience.
No, that's so true. Like the event you're planning. Like the experience of planning it with your friend is just as fun as the actual event, or it should be just as enjoyable as the actual event.
It's so
and
fun.
Things like that. So yeah, that's a great point to point out, and that's something that like we're working with specifically. I'm trying to think of like a way I want to say this. I feel like with wedding planning, there's this like big misconception that it has to be stressful. Or, like when people are like, oh, how's wedding planning going? Oh my God, there's so much. Oh my God.
Yeah, people do be saying that.
It's not like an exciting topic to talk about. And I feel like I've really thrown a lot of people for a loop because I don't feel that way about
I feel like it
planning.
should be exciting.
It's so much fun. And maybe this is coming from a person who like, I honestly, like I think in like another lifetime, like I would love to be like an event planner or wedding planner myself. Like I love doing that kind of stuff. It's truly just like fun for me. I think this is the part where people get really stressed out is because they have goals for themselves.
Yeah.
And if you're like if you're, for instance, you said this week that you like completely changed around your workout schedule and stuff because like this week it just wasn't going to happen the way you had planned.
This week is wild.
And this is where a lot of people will get into that like all or nothing mindset. Like if, I'm sure like even a few years ago, if you were in this situation that you are now, you maybe would have spiraled and been like, oh my gosh, screw it. I'm never working out again because I literally can't stick to a schedule, when that's not the case. That's back to that all or nothing kind of mindset.
Yeah. And what I want to talk about touching on that is I've been talking on my Instagram stories a lot about like knowing how to pivot and like operating on a standard over a schedule. So it's like, okay, I have these 7 days coming up, Sunday through Saturday, whatever. Usually I just count Monday through Saturday because Sunday is just out of the question for me. Yeah. But I have these days coming up, and out of these 6 days, I need to get in 4 workouts. That's my standard, like bare minimum. Okay, yes, I usually go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's usually what I do. But given this week has just been so busy, I'm like, okay, I need to shift my workouts a little bit. And it doesn't matter what days I do them or really what time I do them at, as so long as I get them done. And so like this morning I was going to try to go, but I was like, let me just not push it. Like I have Saturday as an entire free day. So why don't I just go on Saturday instead of trying to force myself to go today? And so I didn't work out Monday because it was super busy. I worked out yesterday morning, not working out today. And then I'm going to work out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And even if I don't end up getting there tomorrow or Friday, which I don't see why I wouldn't, but in the event that I don't, I'm not going to stress myself out over it because I know that every other week I'm there 4 times a week.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm allowed to miss one workout.
Right, exactly. And setting, like, even if you only get 3 in and not 4, giving yourself that grace to know, like, hey, I still moved my body.
Yeah.
I still walked towards my goals. I still made an effort. This week it just didn't go 100% as planned, and that's okay.
Yep. And I already know, like, okay, for instance, Monday, I'm like, oh, never miss a Monday, blah, 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 blah. I got to do my legs on Monday. And so it was kind of weird for me to, like, miss, quote unquote miss, not really miss because I did it yesterday. But I was like, you know what? Let's just take this time, do a little yoga, do a little Pilates. I'm still moving my body in some way, shape, or form. Do a little walk. I'm not lifting heavy weights, and that's fine. It's not like I'm just sitting on the couch all day.
Yeah.
So remembering that exercise can also come in other forms. Like maybe you don't make it to the gym 4 times a week, but maybe you went 3 times a week and you went swimming in a pool or something, or went on a hike.
For sure. And that's something I've found myself doing recently with my workout schedule. It's like, oh, I'll get off calls that like last night we had a late call. You'll finish a call at like, I forget what time we got off, like 7 or something like that. Yeah. And that I'm like, crap. Okay, today was crazy busy, and which actually yesterday I did make it to the gym, so it's a bad example. But like for instance, if this happens, it's like, crap. Okay, today was really busy, and now it's 7 o'clock. I need to cook dinner, and I also have to get up early in the morning because I have to come here to get ready and podcast and take care of Gus before I come. If I knew that, like, if you told me, oh, you have to go to the gym like after that call before dinner, and then also settle down, do your nighttime routine, just chillax with Nick and Gus, it would stress me the freak out. Yeah. I would be like, oh my God, I'm so panicked, which would cause like all of my hormones and cortisol levels and everything to boost, which would cause my sleep to not be as great that night, which I didn't get great sleep anyways last night anyways.
Me neither.
But it'll like throw it all for a loop rather than just listening to my body and knowing that, hey, this maybe isn't the right decision for me. I think a lot of times people think that comes across as laziness, though.
Yeah. I wonder why that is.
Like saying, oh, it's too late now. I'm going to just plan to go tomorrow at some point if I have time tomorrow and try to plan it into my schedule. I feel like a lot of times it's like, oh, that's an excuse. That's just laziness, But I think that also comes from like this perfection diet culture that you have to go to the gym every single day. You have to get into your workout and things like that.
I think it also ties into toxic hustle culture.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's a great point.
And I mean, hustle, okay, in the terms of like working or like building your own business or whatever, but it also comes to like working out.
Yeah.
Like, and I talked about this on my story like a month or 2 ago, where I was just like, I hate when people bully themselves into working harder. Like, you're already exhausted. You're already, stressed out. You already have a million things on your plate. And then you're just going to be mean to yourself and tell yourself that you need to work harder in the gym to get to where you want to go. Have you ever thought about the fact that maybe because you're so stressed out and you are working yourself so hard and you're not resting is why you're not seeing the results that you're supposed to be seeing because you're not resting?
Exactly. 1000%. And I hope that like hits home with some people, like, because I've definitely gotten into those cycles myself. And it's like, why? Like, not even with workout and training, like, yes, with workout and training, but like with work itself too. Like, I remember maybe it was like right before we brought you onto the team, I was like running myself rampant because I was doing all the things and coaching all the girls and had all of this stuff. And I was still feeling like I had to do more and more and more and more and more. I also think it comes from a lot of comparison. I was seeing what other people were doing in their business and thinking, oh, I have to do that too. When like, that's not the case. Like,
yeah. Have you heard health and fitness coaches talk about how your metabolism can help you burn fat even while you're sleeping? And you just think, how? Trust me, we get it. It's all so confusing to know what you need to do to get your metabolism working the way you want it to. But today, you're in luck. We have created a done-for-you daily checklist that will set your metabolism on fire. All you have to do is DM us checklist, and we will send it your way completely for free. All right, now let's get back to the episode.
This business runs very differently than someone else's business, and that's okay. That's what makes the world go round. That's what makes these businesses work.
Exactly.
And so the comparison, but also just like running yourself into the ground. And then in the long run, whether you're doing it in workouts or in work in general or whatever it may be that you're like hustling for, you're not going to get as great results as you would hope for because you're burnout, you're tired, you don't have as much energy, you probably have some brain fog and stuff. So yeah, you might be getting stuff done, but is it at the quality of what you really need it to get done at or what you want it to get done at? Probably not.
Exactly. And that kind of also goes with boundary setting and taking on too much stuff. So like at a certain point, I start to feel like, okay, am I taking on too much? And so like yesterday, I'll give you an example. I went to a church meeting for like an outreach volunteer program, and I'm like interested in that, but I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to like spread myself too thin. And one of the positions that they were talking about is the care team. So helping people in the need terms of crisis, like listening to when they have like something severe going on, which I've done that before, like because I volunteer as like a greeter. But then I was like, okay, well, I also offer a lot of emotional and mindset support to my clients. So I don't want to do that and then also do that for church. And then I'm burnt out.
Yeah.
Because I'm,
support.
Yeah. And I have nobody. Well, I mean, I know I have people, but
yeah.
In like theory, I have nobody to emotionally support me in the same way. Just because I'm still finding a therapist and stuff. So it's like, I don't want
Especially at that level.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a lot to take on. While it's hard with our job to not take on everyone else's like emotional dump that they give you, especially during check-ins and stuff, which like if you're listening to this, like we want you guys to do that. That's like what we're here for.
Right.
But it's also hard when you have almost 30 clients, and then if you also added something on with everyone just emotionally dumping on you, that's gonna do like more harm than good to your mental health, because you'll take it home with you when
and it's like, where am I supposed to dump that, you know?
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I kind of had to set a bound. Like I really wanted to, but I'm like, I have to just do something more basic for my own mental health and sanity. Like if I had a different job, maybe, but that's not the case right now. So
no, that's a great like perspective, or great what's the word? Not acknowledgement.
No, perspective. Oh, like awareness?
Awareness. There we go. Yeah. Great awareness. I was like, what's the word? Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So that's a great awareness. And to have that awareness around the things in your life that you're doing. Like I know we've talked about I think we've talked about before. Maybe it was on Facebook Live. I can't remember exactly. But like energy drainers and energy boosters and stuff.
No, we talked about that on our group call with Jenna.
That's what it was. So it was one of our one-on-one group calls.
Yep.
But having things that either like add to your life or things that drain your life, and like recognizing those, because that's gonna, if you say you have like 4 things that are draining your life and only one thing that's adding to your life, you're gonna feel way more burnout, way more stress. You're gonna feel like honestly, you might feel like your life's busier than it really is, because it's like a heavier thing on. Does that make sense? And so a lot of times, if you feel like your life's busier than it really is, it's just because like those tasks just take a lot more energy out of you. And when in reality, if it was someone who was doing something like, for instance, if you doing check-ins and stuff, like your check-in days are like super energetic, and then like when you're done,
giving energy.
Exactly. For me, check-in days felt like they were super long, drawn out, because I also had my mind on like other things that I needed to be doing. So when you were able to focus it, so it's different for everyone is my point.
Yeah.
Things that add to your life might drain someone else. And so if you do have the ability to kind of pivot or ask someone for help, ask someone for help. Like if you're doing something with work and you're just like, oh my God, this is like taking forever, it's draining, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you have a coworker that like really enjoys doing that kind of thing, and be like, hey, would you mind helping me out with this? And that also comes along with like building the courage of like asking for help, and like accepting that it's not weakness to ask for help, because that also ties into it.
Yep. And it's also too kind of like knowing your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not a bad thing to have weaknesses, right? Everybody has them. Like I'm probably not so good at administrative tasks, and you're good at that. And then like I'm good at what you're not good at. So it balances each other out. And so it's also to the point where, of course, it's going to take you some time to explore and figure these things out. Like for instance, I'm an extrovert, my boyfriend's an introvert. And so sometimes like for a while it took me to understand like why like sometimes after work he just wouldn't want to talk. And I'm like, I want to talk. Like,
and he's like, Serena, shut up.
Yeah. And he's like, I've been talking all day. Like I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
So it's to the point where like one, you have to kind of learn what is going to be best for you at the end of the day. And so it's like he needs alone time to recharge himself, to be, you know, the best boyfriend he can be, and the best friend that he can be, and the best son he can be, or whatever the case may be to the people in his life. And I get recharged by being around other people. So we're complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
But he has enough awareness to know that, and I have enough awareness to know that about myself. And I'm like, okay, well, if you don't want to talk, I'm just going to talk to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
not like that, but you know what I mean?
No,
like,
I'll call a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
We know what you mean. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. And like just recognizing It's big too to recognize how the people around you are, like the fact that like Christian is an introvert and that's what he needs, rather than just like hounding him because all that's going to do is cause tension and like separation and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I've very similarly figured out with Nick that like when he comes home from work, he just needs like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Decompress. Because most of the time when he comes in from work, I'm like cooking dinner or something and I'm just ready to start talking and asking questions about his day. And he's just like, just stop. He's like, I'm gonna go take a shower and just leave me alone for a minute. And so like I've realized that that's just like what he needs. And if you can realize that around the people and relationships in your life, not only significant others, but like friends and family members and stuff too, it's only gonna make your relationships better.
Oh yeah.
Less draining. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
And I think that setting boundaries in those relationships is important as well. But there was something else I kind of wanted to pivot to. So we're just going to hard pivot to this subject. But I think it's really important to talk about the aspect of busyness. And when we get so busy, we kind of, the first thing we revert to is putting our health and our fitness and quote unquote everything else on the back burner.
Yep.
When really that should be like our grounding anchor for everything going forward.
Yep.
So I kind of just wanted to touch on that, like, you know, what it is, why we do it, and then maybe some tips on like how to continue moving the needle forward, even though you are super busy.
Yeah, I think that's great because I feel like that's just a prime example of like you getting super busy and the one person you should be putting first during those busy seasons of life, you neglect, and that's yourself.
Yep.
And that happens a lot of the times. And it's for the people who are closest to us too. Like think about when you're having a rough time, maybe you're really irritated and stuff. You're not going to snap at a random person that's trying to serve you coffee at the coffee shop. But when you get home, you're going to snap at your husband because they're the ones that you know are not going anywhere, which is not an excuse to snap at them. But like that typically is the way that it happens. Like you give them like the brunt of all your issues because you're like having to put out so much energy to just be a happy person on the outside.
We were just talking about this on Monday.
Yeah, we were talking about it on Monday.
This sounds so familiar.
Yeah. So I think that's like a big thing, not only just with like your other, like your family and stuff, but with yourself too. Like you automatically start neglecting yourself. And I don't know where this kind of came from, but I think it is like a social thing where it's a norm now, and it shouldn't really be a norm in my opinion. I think we should work to normalize that, if that's even a word.
Yeah, I agree. Like, okay, I'll give an example. The other day, you know, my grandpa got the role as president, and so he's out in Tulsa now, and I guess there was some guy that interviewed for the same position and was all upset that he didn't get the job, whatever. Well, apparently he was like mad that he couldn't leave at 5 p.m. to go hang out with his kids or whatever. And I was like, yeah, if I was him, I'd be the same way. I'd be like, see ya, like I'm out. And my grandma was like, well, he's on a salary position. Like he should understand that he needs to work longer. And I said, no, if I was in that job, I would leave because I have other things I need to do. I have a life, I have a wife, a kids, you know what I mean? Like that, like he does. So I understand where he's coming from. Like, do I think that he should have treated my grandpa that way? No, but like we gotta have some balance.
And I think that but I think that's big in the work world, that a lot of time it's that hustle mindset and stuff.
Yep.
But a lot of times employers and bosses do kind of increase the need for that hustle, or because they want you to work harder, longer, when people aren't thinking about like people's lives. Like for me, I hope I do this, but like whenever like you're going through something, or if Hannah's going through something, or someone on our team is going through something, like I want to recognize that and make sure that you have your time and space to take care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, your work's not going to be on par either. And I understand that as an employer, it's like, why would I want to overwork my team when my team is all I got? Like my team is why the business is functioning. I need to make sure they're in great health and great mental capacity and cognitive health and things like that to be able to make all of this thrive. And so I never understand when I hear people's bosses like hounding them about like time and staying overtime and doing this. I'm like, what in the world? Like it makes no sense to me. I know you've had previous employers that are kind of like that.
It's boomers. I'm sorry. I just, not to be mean, but I feel like it's a very like ingrained
I think you're right.
mentality in the older generation.
I think you're right.
It really is, because if you look at like a lot of tech companies that are founded by like young, you know, CEOs and stuff, they have a lot more work-life balance.
Yes. Like self-care days.
Yes, exactly. So, and then you look at the companies run by older, you know, people and generations,
and it's miserable.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're so right. And that's just too, like looking at our grandparents, I know we've bonded on like this similar aspect of like them thinking you should get up, go to work, go do the whole 9 to 5 thing, come home, and that's your idea of a job. It's hard for them to wrap their head around like what we do, and we work from home and we have flexible hours and things like that. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's boomers.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry if y'all
when you said it, I was like, what? And I was like, oh no, that makes sense. That's funny.
That's why I was laughing. I was like, oh, should I say this?
That's so funny.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's that toxic hustle culture. And so, you know, we have a couple of girls right now who are going through some things. Not to say that everybody isn't. Like, it's been a weird month. I feel like this month has just kicked everybody's butt.
Months, yeah. Seriously.
And a lot of their first instincts is to just like quit or like, you know, can I do my check-in next week or whatever? And if you guys are really loving and relating to this conversation and want to continue to learn more about this topic and countless others, listen up. This is for you. We want to give you access to our free community of women on similar paths to you. Shoot us a DM on Insta with the word Facebook and we will get you in there ASAP. Of course, like I'm here to support you and we can do whatever we need to do to put your mental health first. Absolutely. But right now I want to encourage you to continue to take strides forward for your health and fitness. And maybe you can't make it to the gym 4 days a week. Fine. Maybe we do 1 time a week, or maybe we even just not stop working out altogether, but maybe we find different workouts that you enjoy, like yoga or Pilates or like a dance. Yeah. Something that you're still moving, but you're not like physically exhausting yourself.
You're not like overly exerting yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then of course, like, you know, during these times we tend to grab fast food, which I'm very much guilty of. Like today I'm going to have to pretty much eat out all day because I don't have anything packed, which is my own fault, but it's fine. I know where to go to get like healthy options. Yeah. But it's like, okay, we tend to gravitate towards food, like especially if we are an emotional eater and, you know, we're like, okay, well, I'm not feeling good today, so I'm going to go get myself a donut to make myself feel better. Fine, do that, but that doesn't also mean that you need to eat McDonald's and Burger King and Domino's for the rest of your meals just because you wanted the donut to make you feel better.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a spiral.
Did you see what I put on my story this morning?
No, I missed it.
Okay, let me read it to you guys.
Okay.
It's great. It's another analogy for this way of thinking.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it though, with like, because that's a very common thing. Like you have one quote unquote unhealthy food and then it's like, oh, I can't have this grilled chicken Caesar salad with like a side of like a baked potato or something at dinner. I have to have the burger and pizza and fries because I've already screwed today up.
Right. And like, don't get me wrong, I used to do that. I used to do that, absolutely. And now I've gotten it. And now I've gotten it to the point where it's like, okay, I hit all my macros, quote unquote, for the day and I'm feeling like shit and I want sushi. So I'm going to get myself some sushi for dinner. And then, you know, if I want a piece of chocolate, I'll have a piece of chocolate. But if I don't want some chocolate, I'm not going to force myself to have some chocolate. So it's like, I'm not saying that, you know, a little pick me up doesn't help every once in a while, but to have your whole day be a quote unquote pick me up is just a little unrealistic.
Right. No, for sure.
Okay. So this is a little screenshot. It's one of those like text to type things.
The tweet looking screenshots.
Yeah. So it says, saying I've already ruined my diet today, I'll just continue eating junk, is like saying I have a hole in my tire, so I might as well slash the other 3. Yeah. It makes zero sense to continue sabotaging yourself. Get back on track ASAP.
Yeah. Who said that?
His name is...
That's such a good analogy. We are always relating things to cars, and I love
James D. Nicolantonio.
Okay.
Shout out James.
So good. That's so good because like you would never, like if you got a hole in one tire, you would never go slash the other 3 because tires are expensive. Oh my god. Like, you would never do that. So why are you doing that to your health?
Yeah.
It's almost like, I think, which we're kind of getting on a tangent here. We can wrap into more some like tactical things to get over balancing a busy life. But it's almost like, since we can't actually see the repercussions of it in the moment, we're like, oh, it doesn't matter. But then over time, of course, we start to see the repercussions of it. We start to feel the repercussions of it and things like that. But since we can't see it in the moment, it's like, oh, there's actually no negative effects to that, you know?
Oh my God. What? There was something, I was either thinking about this or I was talking about this with someone the other day, like the consequences that our actions have, even if you can't see them. It's like, dang, I can't, it was something, it was so good. It was like, okay, oh man, it must have been with my grandparents that I was having this conversation because we were talking about food. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, it's either, you know, you make the quote unquote healthier decisions now and then your payment, or like you pay now for those healthy decisions and consequences because of course you're missing out on all the fun stuff, quote unquote. But the long-term like benefit of, oh, I remember.
We got it.
I was talking, it was with you actually when I was talking about money.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's like, okay, you...
Huh?
My mind is like, I'm a squirrel, okay?
We're good.
Yeah, so you pay now, but you get a long-term investment later because you're healthy, you have lower risk of disease, all that good stuff. Or you pay kind of like a higher tax now to have all of those fun things, and then you pretty much almost like drain your bank account.
With medical bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was with me. I remember this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if you're like hiring a coach or buying healthy food, or like you said, kind of actually if you don't go to all those social fun drinking stuff, you'll save some money. But but like in like the adding to life sort of things, you'll save on the front end, while on the back end, if you don't make those changes or create those habits and you continue eating poorly and you stop moving and your sedentary life and stuff, your medical bills, I don't know if y'all have seen medical bills ever, but like they're expensive. It's not cheap to be on medication or have to have surgeries or be ill in any way. It's not cheap at all. It's so much more worth your money to either pay someone to teach you how to have a healthy lifestyle that works for your body and your goals, or to buy healthier foods. And buying healthy foods, number one, we've done a podcast on this before in the past, but we can touch on it again. It doesn't have to be expensive.
No, and once I move into my apartment, I'm planning on like doing a whole like, apartment move-in series and stuff. Yeah. But I'm also like really planning to get back strict on meal prep because I'm gonna have to budget a lot more seriously now with having to pay rent and stuff.
Same.
And so
Me and Nick are on the same boat.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be like documenting like, okay, here's my meal prep for the week. Like this is how much money I spent. Blah 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 blah. But that's all I want to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I was kind of done with that little tangent
okay, so it's like pay now or pay later. But going back to, putting your health and fitness on the back burner when you have a busy life, it's like our natural first instinct. However, like I said, I think that this is the time where you should anchor yourself into those habits. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like it could just be one thing. And that's that one thing that you have for yourself, despite everything else, despite if your mental health is going down, despite if you have a million things to do on your schedule. Yeah. And it'll save you in the long run.
Yeah, it for sure will. And you guys, it's easier to start on a level playing ground than to climb your way out of a hole.
Oh my God.
So like if you start now before you have all of those health problems, before you are overweight or obese and you're struggling with all of these things, or maybe you have the disordered eating thoughts with like binge eating or just whatever it may be, if you're starting on a playing field of like, hey, I just want to get healthy and really start to like build these habits and stuff, it's so much easier to start there than to go years down the road, let yourself dig yourself deep in this hole and try to climb yourself out of this hole. So much easier.
Yep.
Okay, let's kind of wrap it back around to like some tactical strategies that can help you with balancing a busy life. And you just kind of touched on one, like the meal prepping planning your meals ahead.
Man. Yeah, trust me, I wish I would have meal prepped this week, but I didn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen for me, and that's okay.
You guys, and I know we've talked about this before, but meal prepping, why can't I talk? Prepping, oh my gosh. Meal prepping, a lot of people think it sounds so tedious. And like, yeah, sure, maybe on a Sunday night or whenever you're doing your prep, it's a little tedious, right?
I think it's fun.
I do too. I personally like cooking and stuff. So for 2-3 hour time, sure, it might be tedious for those 2-3 hours. But can you imagine how much time you are saving if all you have to do is either pop it in the oven to warm it up or pop it in the microwave to warm it up, or just like whatever you have to do to just pull it out, grab a fork, and start eating.
Yep.
Like it's within a matter of minutes throughout the week. And if you are someone with a crazy busy schedule and you've never tried meal prepping, I challenge you to try it for 1 week and see the difference it makes.
Oh yeah. And I was just talking to this with my boyfriend the other day. I'm like, okay, I need to kind of get better a little bit at my time management, because right now I'm spending a lot of time in different areas and I need to make sure I can get everything done. And just because I live so far from where my gym is, because I'm locked into a membership, it takes me 2.5 hours to go to the gym. So it's like, okay, the biggest like time expenses I have are driving just either to and from the gym or just wherever else I need to go, and cooking. Yeah. Because I don't like really meal prep right now. And so I'm like, I need to start meal prepping so I can save myself some time, because the driving is inevitable until I move and I'm a little bit closer. But I'm like, I just need to start meal prepping because it'll take me like, 20 minutes to make something and then another 15 to eat it. So that's 35 minutes when I could have been doing something else and eaten in 15 because it was already ready.
Yep, exactly. And this too will help you hit your goals, because a lot of times, and I talk to so many of you guys, and I hear so many times, well, I'm just one of those people that like when I get really busy, I just don't eat. because it takes too much time. You don't have the time. And I'm guilty of this, right?
Same.
I've gotten in the mood where like you just zone out in your work and you completely even forget what time it is. And when you look at the clock and you're like, oh crap, I haven't eaten in hours. Like that's normal, you guys. You're not alone if that happens. But if you know in the back of your head that you have something prepped, you're way more likely to hop up from the computer for a second, go heat it up and bring it, even if you bring it back to your desk.
Yeah.
Which I'm not like recommending that. Be mindful and eat your food like without a screen and stuff. But if it's something you have to do, go for it.
Right.
Rather than like if you're sitting there working and maybe your stomach growls and you're like, oh, I should probably eat something. Crap, but I have to fix it and cook it and pull out all the pans and clean the pans and stuff. Of course you're not going to get up and go do that.
Right, because
it takes way too much work and way too much effort and time, and you clearly don't have that time if you're in the middle of a busy day. So prepping will probably get you eating more closer to what you need, closer to that nutrient level that you truly need.
I'm excited to start prepping again. I'm like picturing it now.
I know.
Crap, there's something. Oh, have you heard health and fitness coaches talk about how your metabolism can help you burn fat even while you're sleeping? And you just think, how? Trust me, we get it. It's all so confusing to know what you need to do to get your metabolism working the way you want it to. But today, you're in luck. We have created a done-for-you daily checklist that will set your metabolism on fire. All you have to do is DM us checklist, and we will send it your way completely for free. All right, now let's get back to the episode. And if you're the type of person that doesn't like to eat something every single day for a whole week, do like a couple days at a time.
Yeah, or bulk prep.
Yeah.
Like I love just like prepping like my starches. So I'll either do like cook like a bunch of rice on Friday. And you guys, rice and quinoa and like things like that. Come on. If there's not much effort there.
Exactly.
Like there's not, you put it in the water, boil, let it do its thing.
Or if you have a rice cooker.
Right, exactly. So easy. So like if you prep quinoa or you prep rice, or even if you like chop up your potatoes and bake them and stuff, and then you put them in a Tupperware in the fridge. So whenever it's time for meal, you can just piece things together. So prep 2 different starches, prep 2 different proteins and 2 different veggies, and you can literally make so many different mixtures of meals out of those like 6 things you prepped.
Yeah. This is a tangent, but cooking and meal prep is really all about time management.
Oh, yeah.
Like knowing how to put this on the pot and then also have the chicken cooking at the same time, then putting this in the oven. Like you just got to figure out, play around with it and know how to time things.
Don't do one thing at a time, you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have like most stoves, from what I'm thinking of, I don't think I've ever seen a stove without it, have 4 burners.
Yep.
You can have something going on all 4 burners as well as a oven,
an air fryer.
And then if you have an air fryer or an Instant Pot or a crock pot or a rice cooker or any of those sort of things, you can have like 6 things going at one time.
Exactly. There's your whole week.
Exactly. If you just get it all going and then you let it all cook and then you put it all in Tupperwares and clean the dishes, you're probably done in 2 hours max.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like honestly, there's no excuse for it. Like you can do it. I promise.
Yeah, I agree.
Another thing with time management and stuff, scheduling your workouts.
Yep.
With this, actually putting it into your calendar for like when you want to go. Because if you put it in your calendar and you actually give yourself a promise that you're not going to move it around, because sometimes obviously it has to happen sometimes, things just move.
Right.
But if you put it in your calendar at a specific time, you're way more likely to get to the gym at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've blocked that time off for yourself. You don't have anything else coming on that's going to disrupt that time. Now, if you don't put anything into the calendar and you're just kind of winging it and say, I'm going to go whenever I get free time.
You're never going to have free time.
You're never going to have free time. We're humans. We can make ourselves as busy as we want to. You can always find something else to do.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if you put it into your calendar knowing, hey, this is what I'm doing at this time, done.
Yep. That's your me time.
And then keep that promise to yourself. That'll help with your self-confidence too.
Period.
Yeah. Do you want to touch on the next one?
Yeah. Okay. The next one is finding accountability partners. So whether that be someone that you are being coached by, a friend, a relative, maybe you join. I know there's a couple of different like groups on Facebook. We have one especially as well. But I've seen a couple of different Facebook groups about like, gym girls, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, maybe you could hop on there. We'd prefer if you hop in ours, but finding somebody on a Facebook group, or what else could I say that like what other areas would you recommend finding an accountability partner besides the ones I just listed?
Even if you're at your
or if
gym,
you like join a workout class, if you like a class.
Definitely a class. And that's something too that like I've thought about myself since we are moving. I was like, I really want to find a new gym. Obviously I have to, because I'm not driving 45 minutes that we go to now. And our neighborhood doesn't have like a club gym or anything, but finding someone, like going and introducing yourself to someone and be like, hey, do you come to this class like every
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday? If they're like, yeah, it's like, cool, let's like meet up with each other and like come to this class together every Tuesday, Thursday. It doesn't have to be like your best friend that you're dragging to the gym with you. It can be someone you meet there.
Exactly.
And I'm sure they would appreciate it too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But we say that because it's not like you're just relying on yourself.
Right.
Because obviously, yes, we just said that when you keep the promises you make to yourself, that's how you build self-confidence. But let's just say that's a huge step for you that maybe it's harder for you to take, which in reality it is.
Yeah.
And so knowing that you have someone else there, of course, you're not going to want to disappoint them or let them down. So it's going to make them it's going to make you more likely to follow through with what you're telling them and what you're telling yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like this is a good like transition into this topic too that I want to go over which is like overcoming obstacles and stuff. Because yeah, you can have the scheduled workouts, you can have the meals prepped, you can have that accountability buddy. We're always going to have obstacles in life though, y'all.
Oh my God.
Something's always going to throw us for a loop.
Life is going to be lifing.
Exactly, just like it is right now for us. Like something's always going to throw you for a loop, whether you're expecting it or not. Either whether it be like travel that you've got coming up, whether it be unexpected plans that just like maybe your boss throws an unexpected meeting on your calendar and you're just like, oh crap, that's not what I had planned during this time, and it's just throwing you for a loop. Or if you travel for work and your boss is like, hey, you've got to be across the country tomorrow, like you know, you never know. Or even just like injuries. Maybe you get sick. Y'all, I was sick last week. Yep. So like if you get sick, it's a setback, right?
Yep.
We're gonna have those things. And I think the biggest advice I can give you guys when you do experience these things is just to give yourself grace.
Oh my God, yeah.
Give yourself grace. Obviously, and I talked about this on my story yesterday, but when you give yourself grace, that's totally fine. We all need grace, right?
Yeah.
But that also means don't give yourself grace after grace after grace after grace after grace after grace. Just because you're getting out of your routine and you're getting out of the like habits of it, you have to challenge yourself to get back into it. Start again, be consistent. Just maybe you have a whole week off and that's okay. Maybe you like the whole travel thing. You have to go to across the country for a week and you didn't prep and you don't know where to go, where there's a gym close, and that's fine. But when you get back home, don't let yourself fall into a hole of, oh, I didn't work out for a week, now I'm not going to work out for another week. Get back into your normal routine, challenge yourself to push yourself to get back into the gym, start eating healthy and doing all of those habits that you have.
Yeah, like don't let your grace become excuses.
Yeah.
To just let yourself free fall, because ultimately at the end of the day, once that happens, you're not keeping up with your healthy habits, so you're actually developing bad habits now, and those are a lot harder to break than establishing a healthy habit. And I was going somewhere with this, and of course I lost my train.
Of course.
It's fine. It's a Serena signature.
Of course. That's funny.
Excuses, grace.
Down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It's okay.
It'll come back. Just keep talking.
It always comes back. Yeah, I think that it's an easy hole to fall into.
Yeah.
So easy. And like you guys, she got it.
I got it.
She got it.
And kind of how we were talking about earlier, once you're down so far in that hole, it's going to be so much harder to climb back out of than if you were to just keep going little by little by little. And it doesn't have to be like some extravagant, I'm at the gym 5 times a week, I'm doing my Peloton, I'm meal prepping every single day of every single week. Like, it doesn't have to be as extravagant as that. It could be something as simple as like, okay, I went for a walk today, like a 6-mile walk because I didn't go to the gym, or, I meal prepped for the next 3 days. It's just, you got to start small.
Yeah, exactly. And something is better than nothing.
Yes.
Always remember
Always.
that. Even if it's just like, oh, I went out on a 30-minute walk outside, I didn't make it to the gym and stuff. That's okay. That's better than sitting on the couch watching Netflix, eating a bag of Doritos.
Yep.
So I think a big thing with this one too is not only like giving yourself grace, but also like commending yourself for the efforts that you do make. Because even though like say you get up off the couch and go do that 30-minute walk that I was just saying, instead of sitting on the couch and eating Doritos, right? Mm-hmm. Some people still might look at themselves and say, oh, that still wasn't enough. I still failed because I didn't get to the gym. I didn't go on like an intense run. I didn't do whatever. When in reality, you should be saying like, wow, I'm really proud of myself. Like I actually got up and I was able to go move my body today. And that was one step in the right direction towards getting back on track with my health goals. So flipping the switch there with like, stop thinking you're not enough.
Yeah.
Whatever your efforts are, if they're moving forward, like Serena said before, moving that needle forward in the right direction towards your health and fitness goals, you're not enough. You're taking those steps that you need. Are they leaps and bounds of steps that you really want? No. And that's fine. But one step is better than no steps.
Yep.
And so, and I know we probably say that a lot, but like just recognize, and if you start talking more positively to yourself too, and like commending yourself and be like, oh, thank you, like saying thank you to yourself and being like, hey, like I went and did that. That was great. Like that was a really good thing that I implemented into my day today. Let's try to do it again tomorrow. You mentally are going to do a 180 because you're just going to learn to, one, it's kind of like positive reinforcement for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're going to want to do it again because it's positive reinforcement. If you've Pavlov's dogs, like the bell and like the slobber and stuff like that, you know what I'm talking about, the drool. Yep. You can technically do that to yourself if you are constantly complimenting yourself. And obviously it helps if you have people around you that are also encouraging you and stuff like that as well, with those accountability buddies, coach, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But doing it to yourself internally, it's probably the hardest part.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's awkward to like look at yourself and be like, oh yeah, that was a good job. Like keep doing it, blah, blah, blah. When it's so much easier to beat yourself down for some reason. But if you really do work and put an effort in to flip the switch and flip the verbiage.
You guys are really loving and relating to this conversation and want to continue to learn more about this topic and countless others. Listen up. This is for you. We want to give you access to our free community of women on similar paths to you. Shoot us a DM on Insta with the word Facebook and we will get you in there ASAP.
Is that like your communication to yourself pretty much?
Yeah, your self-talk.
Yeah, self-talk. It will do a whirlwind of a change and you'll realize that things are easier whenever you start to do it more consistently.
If you haven't noticed, I talk about myself in the third person a lot. I do. I'm like, okay, Serena's hungry. Yep. You know? Yeah. And like it helps me like put things into perspective of basically removing myself from myself and treating myself as a whole separate person or entity. Yeah. And it makes it a lot easier for me to talk about myself in a positive manner.
Yeah, like you were saying this the other day when you're talk to yourself as if you're talking to your best friend.
Yeah.
Like you would not, like if your best friend got up and got off the couch and went on a walk and
I'd be like, okay, good job.
Exactly. You wouldn't look at them and be like, well, that's not enough. At least I hope you wouldn't.
Right.
I hope you wouldn't. You would be like, even if they were talking down on themselves about it, you would most likely be like, well, at least you did something.
Yeah.
You know, you would at least encourage them and maybe like counteract their like negative self-talk on themselves. So why don't we do that to ourselves?
Yep. And I tend to do that as well. Like if I'm upset, I'd be like, okay, Serena, like take a deep breath. Like it's all good. It's going to work out. So I think then that's something that's helped me a lot with somebody with anxiety. Like I have severe anxiety and just being able to talk myself out of those situations. So if you're kind of like uncomfortable about saying like, oh, you know, I am pretty or whatever, try to use like your name and talk to yourself as if you were a separate person.
Yeah. I like that. That's really good advice because I could just,
I didn't even realize I did that until we were talking about it. I was like, oh wait, because I just remember I said Serena's signature. Yeah.
Yep. I think I do that every once in a while. I'm trying to think of like a good instance, but Nick's called me out on it before. He's like, why do you refer to yourself as Lex? And I'm like,
because it's me.
I was thinking about something, but it is really good. Like, you can start that way because like you said, it is uncomfortable sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's like you're doing it internally and no one really knows, it's still kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing it in like a third person, almost like think of you having like a best friend that has your same name or something.
Exactly.
And then after time, over a period of time and stuff, like it'll get easier to just naturally have the self-confidence within to be like, oh, I'm just talking positive about myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
I think this was a great episode.
Yeah. We kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but I hope that helps you kind of understand it's okay to have a busy life. Life is always going to be lifing, right?
Yep.
There's always like one thing we even mentioned at the beginning of this episode, like you check one thing off the to-do list. Yeah, cool. You check it off, but there's always going to be something else added at the bottom of the list. Yep. There's constantly things being added. And so just recognizing that and understanding that it's okay. I can manage these things. And if I work to set up these time management skills, meal prepping, scheduling workouts, getting an accountability partner, and giving myself grace for when those things don't work out, it's all going to like fall into place. Yep. It's a big puzzle piece. And my biggest tip after like this whole conversation is just don't be too hard on yourself.
Yep.
It's okay. And ask for help if you need it.
Yeah. That was going to be my biggest piece of advice too. So glad we're on the same page.
Yeah. Ask for help because even if you aren't in like the stages where you're ready to hire a coach or something like that, you can always still ask for help and be like, hey, you have any tips for managing a crazy long work so like nurses, for example, like 12-hour work shifts and stuff. We have a few nurses, especially like night shift nurses, that their schedule is just not like the normal person. And like it's just, it takes communicating with someone else with an outside perspective who can maybe look inward on your life to help you kind of manage the things within it. And if that's something you want to reach out to us about, we're more than happy to help.
Absolutely.
Sweet. All right, you guys. Well, if you have any questions, as always, just reach out. Let us know. We'd really appreciate it if you rate and review this podcast.
Yes, please.
It always helps.
Share it on your story.
Share it on your story. Share it with a friend. If you have a friend that's like going through some crazy busy stuff right now, share it with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can always help. All right. Sounds good. We'll talk to you guys next Wednesday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.